You're watching Hellbent Holler live. Hello and welcome to Hellbent Holler live. Let us know you can see us and hear us, and we will get started with the show. We had to kind of move a bunch of stuff around for the studio, so we're just making sure everything works and you can hear us. All right, Goshawk says yes. Perfect. As Joe said, we were moving some stuff around. I had to film some stuff in the library earlier today, and I used the green light for it, and we moved it in here. And Joe's like, I love it with the both colors. I was like, it looks like the Irish flag.
So yeah.
So got that Doyle energy going on. I am a little mush mouth today, and I'm not gonna do a ton of talking.
I will be doing most of the talking,
as usual.
Surprisingly so.
I have to go in for emergency oral surgery first thing in the morning and get my wisdom teeth yanked out of my head. So excited about that.
She's a little in pain right now. So
a little bit.
We might have an abbreviated show tonight. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. I have numbing stuff on there, so right now, so we'll be okay. But let me just tell you what this is. This is our weekly live show that we do here every week on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's a casual hangout that we have with our fans, our friends, and our viewers, and a few of our enemies that like to watch for fun. So I just want to welcome you all to it, and we'll get into it. We have a lot of crazy stuff to share with you guys.
Yeah, wild week, man. It was a wild week. We're both, even without the tooth thing, we were both already just like wiped out. We did a live stream for members.
Saturday.
Was that Saturday?
Yeah.
It seems like 2 weeks ago. Good God. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. So Saturday we did a live stream for members from the Grove, and we had some crazy stuff happen.
Yeah.
So we wanted to try out some contact modalities kind of stuff. If you remember last week, we talked about making contact with the supernatural, different ways in which we can do that, why we want to do that, and how we're going to pursue that task. So we wanted to kind of practice a little bit on a members live stream on Saturday in the Grove, and we caught a lot of weird stuff. I saw what appeared to be a shadow figure type deal on thermal.
Yeah, on thermal.
Not with my naked eye, but on thermal. So that was very odd. We also captured audio of what sounds to be drumming in the middle.
I thought it sounded like a heart. We were trying to go live, and the Grove is extremely weird in that we get weird electromagnetic interference there sometimes and weird RF signals there sometimes. And one spot that will have perfect phone reception, like the next time you go there, there's nothing. And I'm not talking about, phone reception will vary a little bit. Maybe one part of your house, you normally got 3 bars, and then you go there one time, you got 2 bars, another time's 4 bars. I'm talking like perfectly clear signal, and then the next time, like nothing.
Yeah.
So we found a hilltop that we were able to get a little bit of signal out to kind of stream, and we were just trying to. This was the first session of the Grove experiments that we're going to do in order to try to, I don't know if you can call it communication, contact, whatever you're going to call it, but try to get some sort of like response back from whatever's in that area messing with us and messing with other people. We were hearing some weird stuff, but it was faint. And the difficulty you run into in the South, especially in the summertime, definitely in the summertime, is the bugs. So we could barely hear it, like on the edge of our hearing, but we were trying to like share it with the people watching, and they wouldn't be able to hear it over just the ka-ka-ka, that constant like bug sound, which I'm not going to ask you to do because your jaw hurts. But we start hearing what sounded like drumming coming through the woods towards us. Now we're on a hilltop, mind you, okay? Behind where we were at, it goes a little bit further in and then it dips down. So we thought it was coming up the hill and through the woods towards us.
Where we were posted at is, I'm sorry, I'm going to probably go closer to the microphone because I'm not going to go too hard on this. Where we were posted up at for Saturday's live stream was actually, it was above where we were at the shoreline and found those footprints. It was about, I'd say three-quarters of a mile away from that shoreline.
Yeah.
So it was way up on a hill, about three-quarters of a mile up from where we found those tiny footprints on that shoreline. Now that was behind us, but the drumming came from in front of us, the opposite direction. And Joe said that it sounded like a heartbeat, and then it sounded like it moved above us.
That's what I was going for. I thought it was coming through the woods. It went over our heads. I swear it went above us and then just petered out. And we weren't looking up. We're looking in the woods. And then it took me a second to kind of go, wait, that's above us. And then like I look up and it's kind of like fading out. And I'm going, so now our goal is to go back in and to go back in with some stuff that we can not only monitor the woods around us, but monitor the sky above us.
Yeah.
So we'll take some thermal imagers we have in that are able to detect heat signatures up in the air, and then some night vision monoculars and stuff like that, have those posted up. But to me, it almost sounded like a heartbeat. It was just very weird. And then when I realized it was above us, I swear it was above us, man. I swear. What I think was it was coming. What I thought it was coming through the woods is it was in the sky, but because we were on the hilltop, I was associated. I don't know, man. I'm trying to game it in my head, but I swear, also, as it was coming up, I'm just like, wait, that's above us. Maybe it was the way it was echoing. I just don't see how nothing else echoed like that out there.
Yeah.
So.
Also, when you're out there, your adrenaline's kind of pumping too, because we had a few weird scares out there. I know that at one point I got startled by some sort of something rustling through the brush, and I screamed because it scared the crap out of me. We totally passed over the fact that you did a solo live a couple days prior to that. On Wednesday, I believe it was, you did a solo live. We were doing some experiments where we go out into the Grove, when we're going to just try some different things out there, because the phenomenon has been so varied out there. Joe went out on Wednesday solo because a lot of the people that have been sending us encounters from that particular area are solo men who are out there all alone, and they're chased out by something that's large, bipedal, and aggressive. Yeah. So we wanted to kind of take Joe out there as bait, and I was not part of that. So if you want to kind of talk about your experience on Wednesday for that solo.
Well, I was trying to get into where one of those hunters had let me know that they were out when this happened, and they said that he thought that he had pretty good cell service in that area. So I was going, screw it, I'm going to go out there solo. We've got those 3 cardinal rules. Always go armed. I was armed. Don't ever go alone. I was alone. Always carry a personal locator beacon. That was on Jesse's gear. I was staying in touch whenever I'd have like little patches of cell signal with Deathwish, actually. Our friend Deathwish, just to let him know that I was out, and he was also out. We were like, all right, if you need me, I'll head your way. If I need you, head mine. But the goal is to see if we can replicate that, to go, all right, fine. It's mostly solitary men being chased out of here. I'm a solitary man. Let's go out and see what happened. I didn't get in to where I wanted to get into because I was already running a little behind because it's difficult. This is difficult with one person. I mean, with two people, with one person, it's damn near impossible, especially because I was trying to film and then I was going to live stream. Well, I didn't get in all the way. And I start hearing like crazy stuff in the woods. So I stopped and just threw a live stream together real quick. And the people that saw it can attest to it. I'm fumbling, trying to get everything like that just because I wasn't prepared for it to start that quickly. We've got to try to clean the audio up. You can barely hear what I was hearing over the freaking bugs, man. You know what I'm saying? The microphone is straining to hear something in the distance, but guess what? The bugs are also in the distance and they're up close and they're on me. But it was crazy. I heard what sounded like mumbled talking. I scared the hell out of a lot of people in there because I'm whispering like just like this. And then all of a sudden I hear this mumbled like conversation, what sounded like on the other side of this wall of brush. So I just go, hello. And I guess everybody was like kind of
flipped out
because I was whispering. And then all of a sudden I speak but I thought maybe there were people there. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that's always a concern. I mean, we got there. Other people can get there too if they so desire, you know? So I don't know, man. It was just weird. So I caught some audio. I got to try to get the bug sound minimized enough without distorting or changing the howling and the screaming and everything like that I caught. So, but it sounded very similar to that audio that you have on that Dogman Lake thing, where you hear the coyotes, but then you hear something else and something else louder and more pissed off and more, bigger, is the coyotes are going crazy over it. You know what I'm saying? But did you hear it? It'll be going sometimes the same time as the coyotes, and the coyotes are stopping. It keeps going. And then you're like, all right, that's not a coyote. So
I was at work when Joe was doing this. So I had so many people messaging me, telling me what you were doing because you didn't update me on what you were doing.
Damn.
And so, I'm an hour away I'm an hour away from home, but from where you are, I'm like 2 hours away. So there's no way I could come and get you and save your sorry butt. But everybody was messaging me just like, what is wrong with him? Why is he doing this? So, so that was kind of nerve-wracking for you to do that. But it was just, I guess there was a lot that we got out of that. It was a good test run for some of this audio equipment.
What the crazy part is that I was not, again, I wasn't where I planned to be at. So I even said at one point, I was like, I feel like I'm trapped here right now because if I go over there, I'm going to lose the stream. If I go over there, I'm going to lose the stream. But finally, I was like, I got to kind of move towards where I'm hearing these sounds. So I finally just killed the stream, got the phone portion of it away. That was a little easier to work with. Now I'm just working with the camera and the mics and all that. So I hiked down through there and it just nothing at all. No howling, no screaming, nothing. So I hang out in there for like a little while and then I start to like hike out. And here's the crazy thing is that something or someone paced me out of there. And twice there were like big limb breaks. And I'm not talking about somebody stepping on an old dead dry stick on the ground. I'm talking like it sounded like somebody or something grabbed two big limbs and just cracked them. And it sounded like it was right behind me. So I'm like spinning around. Nothing's there. I can't see anything. Sound travel's weird at night. Anyway, I mean, it might have been a little bit further back, but it sounded like right there. And I was like, all right, something's following me out of here. I like went the last like mile and a half or so with my pistol out. So just because that's not something stepping on, it's not a deer stepping on dry underbrush. This was like a limb being snapped off a tree or a limb being something hugely loud. It sounded like a gunshot is what I thought the first one was until I kind of figured out, no, that was like a limb being broken off. Wildest thing ever, man. L.W. Marshall said those Asian spiders you encountered in the grove are the subject of rich folklore. If one lives to be 400, they can transform into a lady to seduce and eat young men. They ate me that night because I kept running into them. They're not venomous that I know of. I've got bites on me right now, but you can get staph from like a spider bite. So by like the time I had my like fourth one, I was going, all right, I'm going to get out of here and get these cleaned up. This is just.
Thank God we've moved to me carrying that stick, my extendable walking stick, because Now we were out several times over the past couple of days, and I used that stick to basically just clear the way. I look like a blind man running through the woods. But there were so many spiders. There's so many of those spiders.
We saw them in North
Georgia last year.
A few of them, and they were giant, but they weren't that many of them. Now there are untold thousands of them all over the woods in this region. It's literally,
they're definitely further south than they were before.
And they're smaller. So I'm assuming these are younger ones. I don't know. Maybe there's two different
You don't know the life cycle of the spider?
I don't know the life cycle of these damn spiders. I know they like the taste of me.
Yeah.
And I know that they are they breed insanely quickly. Because, like I said, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They are everywhere.
Now,
you shine your flashlight down. If you get like a little sparse part of the woods where it's not super thick, you can see more than like 5 or 10 feet. And you shine your flashlight. I got a really powerful flashlight. And all you see is webs. Like, as far as like the flashlight, like these little.
Now, do you know how they migrate?
They fly, right? Don't they spin They have like little web parachutes.
They have like the hang gliders that they make out of web. Yeah.
That's nightmarish.
So they're just flying through the air too. So that's good.
LW had another thing too which is interesting. There are also tales that sometimes the transformation is not complete and they hide their spider legs under a large dress. There's parallels to European Fae lore with that. A lot of times the Fae would be extremely beautiful looking humans, male, female, but a lot of times, especially with like the lower levels of Fae, like outside of like the courts, there'd be something off about them. And it was usually involving the feet. Like Gleistigs were these like water spirits that had hooves. So they would wear long gowns all the time. So you wouldn't, and if you saw their hooves, they would be so embarrassed that they would like flee and leave you alone. But there was like lots of instances of that, of the Fae hiding like deformed legs or animal legs under long flowing skirts.
That's why I never wore open-toed shoes before we first started dating.
So I didn't see those.
I didn't want you to see my hooves.
Those hooves. But yeah, they are. I was talking about how my checklist just went out the window. But here's the deal, though. We just talked about how it's time to start pushing boundaries to try to
elicit a response. Make contact.
Advance it a little bit more. I love going out. I hate staying stationary and just listening for stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if we hear something,
we want to run.
We need to go towards it. Yeah. Portals, UAPs notwithstanding, not doing that.
Yeah.
But at the same token, though, you're completely I guess you're at the mercy of whatever this is trying to communicate, but at least I feel like it's more interactive. I feel like maybe we're being more proactive in it. So that means trying to push the envelope. And trust me, I'm not going to do that all the time. But in this case, we've got an area that it's only solitary men are having these encounters. Other than the gentleman that had tried to take his granddaughter, that's really the only female that we've heard out there that's had encounters. Everything else has always been a man by themselves. So we're going to have to try that again. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to try that again. And we've always said that the Grove's it's not a huge, it's big, don't get me wrong. It's not 400,000 acres.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
It's not a huge swath of land.
But it's big. You can get lost out there. But
people have gotten lost out there.
What's that?
People have
gotten lost and gone missing out there.
Yeah.
But it's just always, you've just got to.
We also discovered a rather grisly scene out there. So there's a strange human element out there, as well as we were getting prepared to go out for the night out there. We stumbled upon a very disturbing scene that I don't think we'll talk about here. We talked about it on the members.
We'll mention it. So thank you, Chris Jackson. Frozen veggies to help with the swelling from the wisdom tooth removal.
Thank you.
We've got, trust me, we've got frozen veggies galore in there. Thank you. Yeah, she was out. I noticed her just kind of rubbing it, and she was like, I think I'm clenching my teeth too much, because the other night was extremely tense.
Yeah.
Extremely tense. When she gets the video ready to go, you'll see how tense we are in this. But she was like, I think I'm just gritting my teeth too much, But then it got worse and worse. So she's got a wisdom tooth that needs to come out. But thank you for that, Chris.
It's growing like that.
Yeah, it was all we knew it was gonna have to go eventually. So Lycan Claw, phenomenal work from you too, Joe and Jesse. Greetings in the chat. Thank you,
And
Lycan.
I believe Lycan
And Lycan just became a member as well. Thank you,
yeah.
Lycan. We are greatly appreciative of the support. I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need it.
Because I'm getting emergency dental surgery.
Donald Sparks said Expedition Bigfoot. They heard the same thing Joe heard. The drumming or the howling or what? I have not seen anything out of the last 2 episodes of, the last 2 or 3 seasons of Expedition Bigfoot. So
we haven't really watched it.
Now this is, Kim says this in jest, but she told me she has a good life insurance on you. We have to carry like life insurance doing this. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one of the things that you don't hear people talk about.
We've got cats to take care of.
Yeah. I've got to have the big ones, the accidental death and dismemberment, which hopefully doesn't come into play with any of that. But so what we're saying is that in that area, it's not wise, but we're getting to the point where we've got to push the envelope. And push the envelope means try new things and maybe do some stuff that normally I wouldn't do. Normally she wouldn't do.
Speaking
I don't know.
Speaking of that, Nutslut says Jesse's solo night hunt win.
Probably not, because here's the deal. Here's the only reason I feel more comfortable doing this. I don't seem to attract this stuff. Never have. Okay. Never have. I had that one time when it felt like something, a weird thought appeared in my head that I was just like, what the hell?
Also, these, in the Grove, we have these stories of these men going out and being harassed by this thing. But the other story that Joe mentioned before that involves a woman, it tried to take her. Yeah.
So that's the thing. So we left Jesse alone one night in a clearing in North Georgia. And I don't even remember what video you titled that.
When the hunter becomes the hunted.
And we put the night vision camera on her. It's on a tripod right in front of her. So it's just infrared light. She can't see anything. It's completely pitch black. She looked around with her thermal a little bit. And then, but she says into the camera at one point, we're leaving me here as bait. And then you see, if it's a light artifact, it's a light artifact that would almost be even weirder because light doesn't act like that. There was no reason to have a light artifact like that. The camera wasn't moving. The light wasn't moving, but it looks like 2 little eyes come in over your shoulder, hesitate, look at you, and then went away.
Off, yeah.
We asked our friend Ron Lanham with Wild and Weird West Virginia. He looked at it. He's very level-headed. And his first thing was something came in and took a look at you. But you can't see a body. You'd see a body if you're seeing the eyes.
Kind of
dim in. And then later on, she's like, got her eyes closed, just kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it meditating or whatever, trying to clear her mind. And you see this weird flash of light.
I think that was one of the first times in a video I was trying something to maybe clear my mind and do some contact modality stuff.
Yeah, but thank you, LW.
Thank you,
appreciate
LW.
that, my friend. Thank you so much. So, but the fact that she attracts this stuff, I don't know.
And because the only other story that involves a woman involved in the story, the creature, whatever it may be, attempted to abscond with the ladies.
Well, it's, of course, I just cough and I'm like, we always make excuses for having such bad respiratory issues. And then we're like, look what we do for we're out swallowing insects, running into stuff.
You did swallow.
I did. I got choked up. Yeah. People are like, he's having an attack. And I'm like, no, I literally just swallowed a bug. I swallowed a bug and choked on it. So, yeah. Thank you for that, LW. So, we went back in and there's something in that area that it's not a fox, it's not coyotes, it's not a owl, it's not a bird. I don't know what it is, but it's big. It pisses the coyotes off. The coyotes don't like it. You can tell. But I always notice that they're in separate parts of the forest. Okay. You hear one coming from one way and the other coming from the other way because so the coyotes don't like it, but it seems like they don't want to be anywhere where it's at. They feel comfortable, like a dog on the other side of a fence. You got a little dog inside of a fence and big dog goes walking down the street. Well, the little dog feels safe enough then to start barking and acting crazy because it knows that it's fairly safe at that point. I think that's the same thing that's going with the coyotes out there with whatever that thing is. So
I've got some stuff starred over here if you want to.
I do want to say this real quick. Somebody had mentioned this earlier. Where I thought I had it starred. Oh, they want me to when you're medicated, film you and then put that up on the channel.
Please don't.
Those are some of the best YouTube videos out there.
What if that's how I can? What if we do some contact modality experiments when I'm like on drugs and everything's just shut down and I'm gone and I can do it?
What, like under some sort of anesthetic? So,
yeah, because the left brain will be totally out the window at that point. It's going to be the right brain driving the boat.
Thank you for that, Michael. We appreciate you, sir. Post-op feel good food. You're going to be what, on ice cream and like yogurt, right? Stuff like that?
I guess. I'm not looking for, I'm very trepidatious about all of this. I'm not looking forward to this at all. I do not like doctors or surgery or anything. So
Hawk mentioned too, thank you for that, Michael. Hawk mentioned that he's heard that drumming before too. I don't know what. I don't know why I immediately just went to heartbeat because it was arrhythmic. It wasn't boom, boom, boom.
It was very.
It had like 3-3 and then 1. Boom, 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 boom. I guess it does sound like drumming, but to me it just said, I don't know why, but I just went, it sounds like a heartbeat.
It sounded very similar to what we heard in The Dark Corner.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard that drumming in the distance.
Yeah, but this had I don't know, man. We were so focused on the tree line because it sounded like it was coming through the woods to us. And then and I'm like, it's over top of us. And then by the time I realized it, because it was not something we were expecting, and I turned, it's like faded out. So now we're going to go back up in there. And like I said, I've already got it planned out what we'll do. We're going to have to hike some stuff in, but see if we can just basically be up there again for a while and watch the skies above us in addition to, because that's a whole nother element of stuff. You got stuff in the air up there, man. Although I've got a feeling that whatever is out there pretty much do whatever the heck it wants to. You know,
yeah,
water, earth, air.
I'm going to assume that.
So thank you for that, Kermit. Get well, Jesse. Hope this defrays the ice cream bill. What do you eat? Because it's been so long since I had my wisdom teeth out. What do you? Just ice cream and pudding and stuff like that?
I'm probably not going to eat much. I'm probably just going to be wrapped in a blanket, like suffering. I think that's where I'm going to be.
Anyway, so
I do have some stuff marked on there. Patty had a funny one on there. If you want to take a little gander.
Plus, Joe, you don't run toward it. Jesse would go missing immediately. Yeah, that's it. I'm more like, I'm going to circle around this way and see if I can try to come in from the side on it, where Jesse is just like, barreling. And that's the other reason, too, that no offense, I don't want to like let you go out and do a solo one.
Yeah.
Is that A, you seem to attract this stuff. B, you get so caught up in the moment of just wanting to get an answer that I'm the risk mitigator out of the two of us. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one constantly going, all right, we need to do this. We need to be careful of this. And you're just like, do we have a camera? That's all we need. Let's go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't think, I probably won't come back. That's the thing. We kind of need me to come back. Who's gonna click the buttons?
Who's gonna click the buttons, man? So
enhance.
Moondog, an old Irish saying: if you meet someone in the forest, check their feet for chicken feet. Run. That's another one. Chicken feet, hooves.
It's Irish Day here.
It's Irish Day here at the old at Casa de la Doyle.
Everybody's saying I have to eat mashed potatoes and gravy.
Get it. Tech question: how many lumens are your headlamps and handheld, but not giant flashlights? We use
black
diamond hiking headlamps, and those are not super powerful. Those are like 500 lumens, but those are the red, green, blue, white ones. I have another one that I wear on my head that is just white. That's a 1500 lumens, and then our flashlights are. It's like 8,000 lumens, something like that. I think yours is 5, mine's 8.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but they're like blindingly bright. So,
moving on from the live we did on Saturday in the Grove, we were all over the place. By the way.
It's been a long week. So.
Yesterday and last night, we made our way up to North Georgia to do an investigation. Initially, we were going to go up there because I've been doing some work and research on some missing people cases up there, one of which has never been found, one of which was found after a 10-day search. And so I've been doing some work on that. So we were going to go investigate these areas where these people went missing, and we got waylaid, didn't we?
We got sidetracked. We went up there because Jesse's been following these missing hunter cases for a while. And we were like, you know what? Let's pull back away from the Grove for a minute. Let's jump over. Because I know a lot of people go, I guess it's conflicting thoughts. A lot of people are just like, you should only investigate one area and know everything there is to know about that area.
Before you move to the next.
Yeah, and just do that and spend day after day, year after year in there. And I see the value in that. But for me, that only gives you a small part of the big picture. And we're looking for the big picture here. Also, we don't want to be predictable because of the human element a lot. Yeah. So we jetted over to North Georgia. We're going to check out these spots. One of the spots, like the missing hunter, because it's somewhat near. Oh, it's pretty near. Yeah, it's near-ish where we've had other weird stuff happen at. Mm-hmm. Like especially that tree where we've caught that weird audio at. So we went in there and we were all set up to basically do a piece and then an investigation on these missing hunters. And then we just get waylaid. We go into this one area and it wasn't even the area that we originally wanted to be in. We stopped and we were like kind of looking at it going, I think we're in the right spot. And then I'm like, no, we're not.
But let's check it out.
Let's check it out anyway.
For some reason, no, we've gone past this because we go into an area where there's a network of forestry roads. We've gone past this area a few times, and there's something very intriguing about it, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Call it an intuition, call it whatever you want. But I've had this desire to check this out, and it's really close to where we were headed to. We're like, let's do it. Let's check it out. We go in there and it gets a little strange. It's a beautiful creek that just goes up into this cut between two mountains. We go up, we go further and further along, and it's a little dry up there right now.
Creek is definitely down.
Creek is down. So I found a little area. I was like, oh, there's a little sandy area that let me go look. Anytime there's sand or mud, I have to go and look and see if there's any kind of prints or any kind of indentation that something's moving through this area. I get down to the sand, and what do I find?
So the creek had shrunk down a bit. So it's a lot of like, you call them river rocks, creek pebbles. How's that sound? Like a lot of very pebbly, like rocky shore on this creek where it's receded back a bit that normally the water would be over. Jesse finds this small footprint in the sand. There's a little patch of sand right there. Like a quick aside, one of my just things that drives me crazy is that whenever we find a print, anybody else involved in this finds a print, and then you've got these like jackballs that are just like, animals don't just leave one print. There'd be like a lot more. And I'm going, we're not in the Sahara, man. Okay. We're not on the beach. All right. We're in areas where there's differing types of ground, of terrain that we're going over, some of which don't take prints that well. They teach you that when you learn tracking, that you're not going to, unless you're, again, trying to track somebody on a beach and they're just going along the water, or maybe you're in the desert, the rest of the time, you're not going to find track lines like that, okay? Unless they're going over muddy ground or something, you're looking for a print, and then if you don't see another one, you keep going in the direction where the print was headed, and you keep looking and looking and looking, and then if you don't find it, then you go back to that print and you start like going around in circles trying to find where it went to. There's one print in this sandy thing, and there's rocks everywhere. It hit perfectly. So this tiny, tiny, tiny little print, and you can tell by the toes.
It was barely 7 inches long.
Yeah, like 6.5 inches long.
Yep.
So bare footprint, just a bare footprint, 6.5 inches long. we can tell by the toes which way it's headed. So we go in that direction. It's cutting across, it's going over the stream. And I can even look, there's another rock. There's a rock in the middle of the water. And on the algae and the buildup on top of the rock, you could see a foot-shaped depression where something had stepped there that looked to be, not exact, I mean, you can't really exactly say that's what it was, but it looked to be about the same size as the print we just found a few, like, you know, like a foot or two away. Yeah. So we head in that direction. We're like, all right, this is the way to go. We head in that direction, and there's like little paths running around all back through there. And we're just going like, what the heck, man? This area is rife. This is one of the areas that the Cherokee used to talk about having the Cherokee little people, okay, that used to be there. And that's one of those areas, the folklore of that area is just rife with like little people that live in caves and come out, the little fire-breathing demons that come out of the ground up through there. The legends are rife up there, and we have found small footprints, not too
and
terribly.
Just to clarify, we're not talking about the footprints we found in the grove. I think some people are thinking we're talking.
No. We're in the area.
About something we found yesterday.
We're in North Georgia, man. This is North Georgia. It's where we found the little footprints in the grove, and now we found little footprints in North Georgia, where we also found other little footprints at. Which is so weird, man, because when you get down to just tracks found, we have found far more small footprints than we have big stereotypical Bigfoot footprints. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even if you kind of judge those on the fact that they're supposed to be smaller in the South, you know, we have found a lot of small footprints. That's one of the main things we found when you get down to it.
Certainly.
But so we follow the way these footprints are going, and we just start finding weird stuff, man. Just weird stuff. We found Poke ETB, thank you for being a member for a month. That just popped up. Thank you. So we start finding weird crap on a small scale.
Yep.
The first thing we find is Jesse finds this arch, is what I'm calling it.
I have a photo of it. I'm going to share with everybody. So after we find this footprint, we follow some of these small paths that look like game trails. We follow them for a while up the river and then into the woods a bit, and we stumble across this. Now, in this photo, we don't have a Jesse for scale in this photo. We should have gotten a photo with me for scale.
Yes.
But
we've got video of you for scale.
Yeah, and all of this is on a video that I'll be editing and releasing soon. But let me share screen. Sorry if you're new to the chat. I'm being awful quiet today because I have to get my wisdom teeth taken out.
So these footprints were 6.5 inches long. Well, the one footprint, and then the other thing that looked like a footprint itself. We've come across this, and it's where the footprint is headed towards. There's a live tree. Can I use your mouse here? Yeah. Will your mouse show up on the...
You need to go down here?
That? And do what? Click it? And then now...
Now you're on.
Cool. All right. Well, I had a mouse. All right, it's very slow. Nope, it's not.
That's what you're doing here. There you go.
All right. This right here, if you can see the mouse, is a live tree that has been bent over.
It's a holly.
And wedged up here. And then all of these are broken limbs that have been kind of arranged around in this weird arch. Now, here's what's weird. People that are out, like, you know, they'll make like little lean-tos to sleep in. Okay. But the whole purpose of that is to shelter you from the rain. It covers your body when you lie down. This is just an arch. It's like maybe a foot wide. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's small, man. It's small. She's 5'2", as I knock her microphone down. She's 5'2", and she had to crouch down to get through it. And I'm just standing there going, man, I hate to let my imagination run wild with me, but something with that size of the print we just found would be able to walk under that no problem.
Yeah.
So it's just this.
So I had to crouch down to go under it. And of course, we're talking about this. What is this archway? What is this gate?
That's where I was going to
what
next.
Is this?
Holly is sacred, and it's a living
Yes.
holly tree that has been pinned. And you can even see down here at the base of it, there's other shoots that are coming up straight. This one has been bent over and pinned, still alive. And then all these other pieces of wood done up. And when I saw it head on, I immediately went, oh, it's a shelter.
But you can see that it is holly here.
Yeah.
This tree here is holly. You can see the holly.
But and I'm going, all right, well, there's no reason this wouldn't shelter anybody. I mean, this isn't a shelter. This isn't a shelter that you would make if you were out here. This is just a weird arch that's been built around this living tree.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it going, damn, it's like we didn't mess with it. But I'm like it seems like it's so perfectly done that if we removed one of these branches, it would just all snap right back up. So we're like looking at this, just going, and I'm going, all right, well, it's not somebody that's doing like bushcraft out here. It serves no bushcraft purpose whatsoever. You couldn't like attach a tarp to it or anything like that. It's probably gonna come apart, and you wouldn't need to. If you need to string up a tarp, there's far easier ways to do it than this. And again, we can't say what this thing is, but it's right next to this small footprint, 2 possible small footprints. And we're just like looking around it. And then all of a sudden Jesse goes, well, what's this? And we go over and there are these 2 rings of white quartz. One looks like a real rudimentary spiral. And then the other one.
So we do have photos of that. If you'd like to put those in the drive, I'll go ahead and bring those up. But I wanted to bring this up here. Surviving the Strange says, looks like all breaks, no cuts in the wood. You think a bushcraft, like I guess a person doing bushcraft, would have to chop something at some point in time.
Well, I mean, if you're doing bushcraft, if you're practicing survival, one of the things on survival is you conserve your energy and you conserve your calories if you're in a survival situation.
If you would gather wood as opposed to chopping wood,
you wouldn't break wood. I mean, you would try to cut it where you could, but even then, some of those things were small, but some of those were pretty sizable, and those weren't rotting pieces of wood.
No.
Those were.
Ellen's Holistic Heaven said a portal like an Outlander. So we actually speculated on that.
What is Outlander?
I think it's a sexy time and space travel show.
A sexy time and space travel show. Well, I said it's an arch, and Jesse's like, it's a gateway. And I'm going, well, you can't say that.
So directly in front of this arch, gateway, portal, whatever structure, we found this. So Joe is pulling up these right now. He's going to put these into the drive, and I'm going to pull those up, and you guys can see it. But it's a spiral and a circle made from white quartz that's directly in front of it. So we thought that was awfully strange as well. Kind of these 2 things right next to each other. We thought that was very, very strange. So I don't know. Of course, we were talking about it being a portal or something, and I'm like, oh, let me crawl right through it. Joseph Sage says, I would say something for a ritual, maybe. We have found ritual sites in that region. And there is some sort of occult activity going on in that region. And we don't think this is related because we've never found something on this small of a scale before.
Yeah, it's so I don't know what. I just don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's.
Did you put that in?
No, I'm trying to, it's not letting me add it in. So I'm trying to.
EDP says this quartz thing has got to be figured out. Yeah. I mean, it's odd that we are finding quartz in all of these locations. Just going through all the chat here while Joe's trying to get that put together.
So again, if we just found
that's not the only thing we found.
If we just found that, it would be weird. But then we find it with the small footprint, and I'm going, I don't know. It's just so bizarre.
We also found a weird thing made of branches, a weaving, sort of I don't want to say it's a Blair Witch thing, but it's sort of
it's Blair Witchy. It's very Blair Witchy.
but it was something that was made from sticks that are twisted together and formed into a shape. And we came across it while we were out there on the same expedition. We came across it while we were out there, and we actually grabbed it and brought it home. So we actually have that. We'll show that to you guys in a minute.
I can't get this to add.
That's okay. That's all right. If you'll let me take a look at it, I'll see if I can do it. April Black says, "Is it a gnome wedding arch?"
It's so small, but then we find these little rings. I'm going to text it to you here real quick because I think it's an issue with my phone.
That's fine. MK Ultra is in the chat. What's up, MK? How are you doing? Bob in Michigan has an interesting perspective. He says, could it be a case of dwarfism in Squatch? That's
I don't know,
kind of mixing together some stuff there. It's a possibility.
Somebody said duendes, which are like evil little dwarves. But what's so weird is that again, you can't tell what it is. There could have been, I don't know. If we hadn't found the weird little footprint nearby, that's what's throwing me for a loop. And then you find this, and then we find these weird little rings of quartz that, like small little quartz. I'm looking at this going, this isn't a fire ring.
Now, the rings of quartz look like they have been there for a little while. You could tell that it had rained on them. There was some soil up on the edges. You know, when it rains and the dirt splashes up on the side, you could see that they had been there for a little bit of time. I'm going to go ahead and add these in, and then we'll take a look at those if you'll take care of that, chat. I sound like I'm talking with my NPR voice.
I know you do, exactly.
Right now.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Yep. Hopefully I'll have this wisdom tooth thing taken care of.
But and like I said, that's what's, and trust me, man, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. But if you just take a step back from your preconceived notions and you go, one of my big thing about like a flesh and blood Bigfoot, especially in the Southeast, is it'd be difficult for these things to stay hidden if it's a breeding population. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. And every year they would go without being discovered, it becomes a little bit more impossible. Something small like that, all of a sudden, that's a completely different thing. And what's weird is that the Yunwi Sundi, it's like the Cherokee little people, they were not nice. They were entities that the Cherokee had a great deal of respect for, but had even more fear of, and would tread very lightly around them. And they were known to be associated with missing people, missing travelers, that you would not go out at certain times of the year, just like European folklore. There's certain times of the year you would avoid it, certain things that you wouldn't do to attract their attention, and that when people went missing, they chalked it up to the little people. Well, we're up in that area looking into one of these missing hunter cases. But it's still so weird. Then you take a step back and you go, and what am I talking about here, man? I'm talking about little people. That's so crazy. We look for crazy stuff, but that's even crazier to me. But you can't deny it. We have found small footprints, and people have gone, oh, well, those feet have obviously been wearing shoes. And I'm going, well, then the footprints at the White Sands that are in the same kind of shape, size, and orientation. Yeah, they were wearing shoes back then. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think we put that up before, but like the White Sands prints.
Finally, I've got these things to show up. I don't know what's going on.
They were 25,000 years ago, a little less than that. So, all right, you got these things here. So
I do. Finally, cooking with gas here. All right. The brain don't work.
And when Martin says one of my favorite topics, Cherokee little people, what's weird is that people who have semi-recently transplanted into this area are enamored with Cherokee folklore, but they think it's like a Disney thing.
So and
then the Cherokee and the Catawba that are up here, the ones that still believe this, because there's Native Americans who are completely, they think it's just interesting stories and whatnot. Jesse had a friend actually that we've talked about in the past. His father was an elder of the Catawba tribe, and the father, was very versed in all the folklore, but he just thought they were stories. He didn't believe any of it. And the son was just like, I know I've had experiences.
It's very interesting how it
skipped a generation.
skipped a
And the person who was
generation.
actually a Native American elder didn't believe any of it.
Now, there's an interesting story about
Yeah.
the Cherokee Little People. When they were building Western Carolina University, and they were doing some improvements on it. I believe it was in the 1960s. They were digging down and putting in some lower levels there. And they came across a cache of small humanoid bones.
Mhm.
And allegedly one of the professors there had a few of the skulls. And they were not child bones. They had age to them. Some of them had signs of osteoporosis. They had injury. They had things that would indicate that these were adults, but they were miniature-sized skeletons. And this is one of the things that lends to the possibility that the Cherokee Little People are an actual thing, is this story. And the story circulated for a long time. One of the professors, like I said, had a couple of the skulls on his desk for many, many years. But now the story has been, swept under the rug.
Or it's been like Disney-fied.
Or Disney.
They're like little fairies that just run around, and it's just, but, and it's weird because in addition to all of like the Fey folklore of the British Isles, there were also rumors that the Picts, the inhabitants of the British Isles before, the Angles and the Saxons and all that came in, that the Picts had basically retreated underground.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were the genesis of all of these like little people underground stories, gnomes, dwarves, and all that. And I'm going, maybe why couldn't both of those things have been true? You know what I'm saying? One does not preclude the other. I do again, but I go back to this, is that if it's just a small race of just humans living underground, you'd find a dead one. You know what I'm saying? One would come out thinking it's okay and then have a heart attack and drop dead, and somebody would find it.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be, I don't know, like a
something
supernatural
a
element. There's something a little more.
Something a little more.
You were saving that one, weren't you? So.
All right, let's take a look at this right here. This is one of the stone, would we say glyphs?
Yeah.
We would say that we discovered out there near this archway that we found. And this is all white quartz. All of these are white quartz there. So it's actually a pretty fascinating little find here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that here it's in a spiral pattern right there. Now you do have a couple, like an outlier here, but these white quartz stones are just placed in this spiral pattern. We have another one here that is both of these together, and we'll zoom in here so you guys can kind of take a look at both of these. And there's one, you gotta kind of tilt your head because I took a weird angle there. And then there's the spiral next to it. And this
that small spiral was.
This appears to be just a circle.
But there's two, go up to this way. There's two pieces
that are off
to it that seemed like they weren't, that's awful far to just kind of like, I don't know, got moved, whatever. It seemed like they were placed there. I don't know. The bigger one, the one she's got up there right now, was roughly about 14, 16 inches. No, I take that back. That one was like about 18 inches. And then the other one was about 12, 14 inches.
But these were side by side facing the archway that we found.
Yeah, so the archway, if you were to walk through that archway and go straight, you would travel a few feet and then hit these little stone rings.
Yeah.
Weirdest thing ever, man. Weirdest thing ever. So now we've got one definite small footprint, another small footprint impression, a small arch, and then these small rings, man. And those are not fire rings. There'd be no purpose to, A, there's nothing burnt there. B, what good is that going to do? A fire ring's to keep your fire from spreading. I mean, you just don't put a few rocks around it. And then those are pretty small fires if somebody's building fires that big, man. So,
what's crazy? I was just thinking about this and I can't believe I completely forgot about it. I was thinking about our first expedition that we filmed. That we went out and we went into the Mountain Bridge Wilderness area, which is on the border of South Carolina and North Carolina. And we were out there exploring around. This is when we first started filming our expeditions and our investigations. We went up that hillside of that mountain, and we found this small overhang that just was basically a shelter at that point. But it was a small rock overhang, and underneath that overhang, in a very difficult to get to place, we found tiny footprints. Tiny footprints are the very first thing we ever found on the channel. So I think that's kind of an interesting little point there. Maybe not here in the NPR world.
In the NPR world. So, all
right.
So I don't know. Like I said, that's definitely not something that we were out looking for, but yet we keep running across it. And somebody had mentioned, I thought I started, but I might not have. There's a gentleman in the chat who is Western Band Cherokee, and he mentioned that hold on, River of No Return. He mentioned that not all of the stories surrounding them were, here we go. The Cherokee people knew that there were several different types of little people. Some are friendly, some are not. What's strange is that in the Cherokee in and around this area uniformly talk about how dangerous they are. Just that they are dangerous and not to be like trifled with, not to be interacted with. That if you
shouldn't even mention their name.
Find signs of them, to like go away and find another way to go. So it's interesting that there's that. I wonder if that's indicative of just out west, or maybe those stories have just kind of fallen out of favor here because of the ones that are here nowadays are not friendly. And he follows up with this, that weren't just stories. Little people are real. My ancestors know. Out of everything that we've looked into, and we didn't ever start out looking into stories of little people. We were familiar with the legends, but we were looking for Bigfoot, man. That's what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Bigfoot holds a place of more like cultural importance nowadays. There's no little people field research organization out there, although maybe there should be.
Could be.
Yeah, there needs to be, because that was one of the first things we found, and they keep cropping up.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, so what's the other alternative? There's very negligent parents with children with like deformed feet, that they just take them into these terrible situations in the woods and then make them run around barefoot. We found these things
oftentimes in the middle of winter.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And then they're also going, all right, kids, now before we leave, I want you guys to make an arch with a living holly tree for no reason at all. Just do it. Now I want you to make 2 little rings, make one of them kind of a spiral out of this. Go gather up white quartz and then do this right now.
Maybe the parents are big fans of True Detective, like we are.
Yeah, but then also too, it's in the middle of nowhere, man. It's just in the middle of nowhere. This is not a camping area. This is not a hiking trail. I mean, it's near where these hunters have gone missing. Yeah. It's just so weird, man. And then
there's a lot of similarities in a lot of these stories. I think if you kind of had like a missing 411 checklist style thing for what we're finding in these areas, a lot of these stories check a lot of those boxes,
Surviving the Strange Ass, is that a spiral? The one appears to be a spiral. The other one appears to be a more circular,
there, but yes,
with some rocks off to the top. And I'll be honest with you, when you're facing it and you're coming, I'm running with a narrative right now. I know that.
That appears to be a spiral.
When you walk through that arch towards those 2 little stone rings, when you face it, can you shrink it down a little bit so I can see the one with the? Yeah, no, that's how it is. See how the 2 rocks are above it? It almost looked like eyes, horns, something like that. I don't know, but when I walked up, I just went, damn, it almost looks like a face. When you approach it the way that you approach it coming out of the spiral. We were taking pictures from the sides to get them both in the thing. And then Grizz had mentioned, are the little people and the Moon-Eyed people the same? No, the Moon-Eyed people were distinctly different. When you look at the Moon-Eyed people legends, there's not as much supernatural element to it. They seem to fight. They seem to fight the Cherokee. They came out of the ground. They apparently built those like Cyclopean fortification, whatever you want to call it.
That you find at Fort Mountain.
Yeah. And then the little people, and that's so weird to me about Cherokee folklore. And I hate to even call it folklore because you see so many parallels between what the Cherokee experienced and what people experienced on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Small, mystical people that have bad tempers, that live underground, that,
It's me.
Yeah, exactly. It is you, except for the underground part. So
Well,
the Nunnehi, which were basically the Cherokee equivalent of elves, they were usually very friendly, but you still didn't want to get on their nerves. You had to tread very lightly around them, but they would help the Cherokee in times of war, and but they weren't a spirit, they weren't a god, they weren't an animal, they weren't a man. They were, again, the closest thing is like an elf. I'm talking like a Legolas type elf, you know what I'm saying? So
that's kind of what you are. You're like tall and light hair.
Yeah, man. So
and I'm just a little mountain dwarf.
little misshapen gnome. So
So I did mention earlier, before we got into the stone circles and spirals of the conversation, I did mention earlier that we found another weird thing yesterday out in the woods.
So when we checked out the, I sound crazy just even talking about this. We found the arch and the little footprints and then these spirals. We're not too terribly far. It's a hike, but it's not too terribly far to that tree where we caught the weird audio.
We refer to it as the offering tree.
Because it seems like something was leaving offerings there. Quartz, bird feathers, stuff like that. That's where we left the audio recorder at, and we got the audio we released publicly, and then the really weird audio that we did not release publicly because we're still not sure what to make of it.
Stingray, did you see Stingray's comment?
What's that?
The spiral is a galaxy. The circle is the Earth with the sun and moon outside.
Jesus Christ. Every once in a while, that brain just kind of
fires.
Yeah.
Just a light in the darkness.
Just pops. So, but damn, I just lost my train of thought. That's very insightful. Good Lord. Write that down so we don't forget it.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure he won't let us forget that.
Yeah, he won't let us forget it. Wait, we got banned from his chat the other week. Ban that sucker. I went into Stingray's live show that he was on, and he had a purple light on him, like purplish, and I just made a wino joke, and I was trying to make a joke that the wine had permanently turned him purple, and I didn't even get the rest of it out. They just kicked my ass out and banned me.
So you were talking about we went to that area.
We weren't going to that weird offering tree. We were focused on, because the area with the hunter was like further off. It was just too much of a pain to get to, and we wanted to go explore a new facet of that area, get away from the grove for a little while. Well, we found this, and I'm just like, man, that last audio we caught at that tree, two of the things sounded pretty small, I was like, let's go put a recorder out. So we were like, all right, it's going to be a haul. That's part of the reason why we're so beat up and tired and sore today. So we booked it over there to the tree. We went in, and it is so like oppressive in there and stifling and thick and just difficult to move through and just crappy. It's a crappy area. And we go in to leave a digital audio recorder at that tree. And we were kind of, again, our original plan was out the window. Okay. The missing hunter thing's kicked out. It's gone. We're not doing it. We're kind of making this up as we go along, because usually we have a plan going into these, even though it doesn't look like it.
So we're just kind of going,
winging it,
going where the wind takes us.
Yeah. So, but we want to get back to that arch shortly after dark. So we go up, nothing,
Of course, we heard singing and screaming when we got there after dark.
Yeah. It's weird, but we put out this digital audio recorder at the tree. We're backtracking. We're going to try to haul butt to get to where that arch and the rings are, because we're going to do a night investigation there. And then Jessie hits kind of something with her foot, right?
Yeah.
And then
the path that we just came down.
The path that we just came down. Now, we were rushing. It's a possibility. It's a very strong possibility we missed it, because I'm going to be honest with you. We probably did miss it. Maybe.
Yeah. We were trying to get to the tree.
We were trying to rush, and it doesn't look like anything until you pick it up.
Yeah.
And then when you picked it up, even I was going, well, what's the problem here? What is just a piece of brush on the path? And I thought you were focusing on the fact that maybe it wasn't there when we came up. And I was trying to make the point that we were rushing. I might have stepped right over it. Who knows? And then you're just like, no, look at it.
Yeah.
And it's weird, man.
I brought it home. You good? So I brought it home, and now it's in my house. Joe's grabbing it right now. And I'm going to actually star some of these comments. We'll talk about some of these comments in a bit.
So it's a broken
You got this?
stick
Okay.
that has been done into a
Shape?
shape. I don't know. And
So let's
threaded through
let me have this.
another branch.
So this is what we found, and
it's laying just in the middle of
it's twisted. It's all one branch, but it's been twisted into some sort of shape. We're not sure the significance or anything about this.
That's one branch twisted into like an M or a W pattern, threaded.
Broken and twisted, and you can see that. I'll bring this to the camera here. You can see how everything is kind of
laced
manipulated into this shape, and I don't know which way is up or which way is down.
Yeah, and it's got a weird, like there's a piece that comes off here that's been, it's just very weird. It's very weird. It's been woven together, and it serves no discernible purpose whatsoever. And I don't even see somebody who's just out hiking and they stop and they're bored. I'm going to break this tree, you know, and then kind of just.
So, yeah, that's bizarre, isn't it?
I don't know. It's so weird in the way it's like just woven together like that.
Yeah. So I toted that out of the woods and brought it home, of course. So I'm going to have to.
And I'm like going, that's like not even like Blair Witch stuff.
Somebody said it's a troll crown.
What is a troll crown?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Paramedic said, don't be surprised if they come for it. That's great.
But I mean, like, what the hell, man? I mean, it could be nothing, but there's a lot of weird nothings up there that at this point. It's just this weird, and you can see where the breaks are, where it's been broken and spun and just woven back in on itself. And it wasn't cut. It was broken off the tree on the original one here. It's just this woven little crown or wreath or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But anyway, Jesse was like, I'm taking it with me. And the damn thing's so fragile, too. You got to be careful with it because all the branches are like really small.
EDP was like, I would not have brought that one home.
It's my life, man. You guys
probably a bad idea.
Point, so.
The magpie gene kicks in.
Curtis Whitaker, thank you for that. Thank you so much. I will use that to have the house exercised after Jesse finally brings the one thing home that is going to stick. Bill Evans, welcome to it. So welcome to the membership, my friend.
Castleberry said they may be in your house now.
So I don't know, man. But it's just so weird because you look at it and you go, and that's not that big. That's a small branch. That's not a. There are tree bends galore through there that we got on camera. We got them on film. Big long trees that are bent over and woven in. We've had those on previous videos that we've done.
Oh my God, Paramedic.
What's that?
Wouldn't it be awesome if it were a star map? The broken points are where the stars are.
How do you people come up with this? I mean, how would you even know? I mean, how would you? Would you just stand out on the night sky with this thing and kind of try to align it?
I don't know.
And I don't even know what way would be considered up, down, or whatever. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, somebody's trying to make a wreath or something. But I'm like, why? And why would it be? There's just a lot of weirdness in that area, man. There's just a lot of weirdness there.
I was already having my wisdom tooth problems before I picked that up and carried that home. So let's just get that out of the way that this did not cause my malady here. Alan Howell says, leave them your teeth for payment, Jesse. Yeah. That's not going to curse me forever.
So I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, again, Bigfoot's hard to comprehend. This is hard to wrap your head around. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. Even being familiar with the stories and the folklore, it's hard for me to wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
It's easy for you to conceptually know something that people have talked about this since there's been people around to talk about it. And then it's another thing to just, because even as immersed into this weird stuff like we are, you still sometimes
never enough.
You stop back and you just go, this is freaking crazy, man. Little footprints, little arches, these little rings, whatever in the heck. That's not, I mean, something with hands did that. Now, maybe there's a mundane explanation for it. People do weird stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff. And why is none of it people-sized?
So LW Marshall has a point here. would it have been to be used in an area with no light pollution?
Oh, there's no. That's one of the darkest parts.
It's actually on the dark skies map.
It's on the dark skies map. There's zero light pollution up there. That
It's
is
an
about
old growth forest on the dark
that
skies
is
map.
about as remote as you can get into this part of the country.
Yeah.
Up there. It takes us a long while on a old paved road, and then even longer on gravel roads, and then even longer on foot. This ain't something that you can just kind of go out for a little while. So there's not a lot of light pollution for it. And I don't know, man. And I'm not saying, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm baffled by all of it. It's just weird. And it just, you keep going. Like, if we just found that, I'd go, that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. If we just found the arch, I'd go, wow, that's really weird. The footprint would be, yeah, that's bizarre. That's not a human. I'm gonna say it. That ain't a human kid. That's just not a human kid. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And then the little, we find quartz all the time. We found quartz laid out in a triangle one time, but have we ever found anything like that before?
Something like these spirals?
No, I can't. I mean, that's just so weird, man.
River of
and they're little rocks. They're little rocks. They're tiny little rocks. That's what's so weird.
River of No Return had a good point here that spirals usually mean a portal is nearby. I've been studying that for years now.
Suji says the same thing.
As the crow flies, this is not far from the area where we captured a burning light.
The burning light. It's not that far.
What if
it's difficult to get to on foot?
Yeah.
But you could do it. It'd take you a while. It'd take us a while. But I guess if something's living up
I'm
there,
honestly starting to get a little freaked out about what's going on up there. Like, we're stumbling across like some ancient weird stuff.
Yeah, it's just so weird, man. What's weird is that and this is an area where people don't really go. There's nothing. Yeah, outdoor sports are big, hiking and stuff like that. Not that much anymore. It got really popular around like COVID. But even then, people, when they're on I love nature, they go look at waterfalls. There's nothing scenic up there. There's no hiking trails. There's no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's not very scenic place. You can't really see a lot. It's very overgrown and crappy. The roads aren't maintained.
River of No Return has another one here. Just know this: little people are actually more dangerous than Sasquatch. I usually leave some prayer tobacco for them or an unwrapped hard candy. Try to keep on their good side. I might actually try some of that. We'll see how that works.
JC Johnson did speak about the little people often, but again, it's one thing to know the lore. It's another thing to start going. I'm finding little weird stuff. This isn't people sized. This definitely isn't Bigfoot sized, even being smaller in the South. This isn't people sized. The rocks in that little ring were small, man, I mean, those were small little rocks, I don't know.
Deuster has a good suggestion. So I'm going to make, if you're just joining us, I have an emergency wisdom tooth removal first thing in the morning because I am swollen and in pain. But he said, Jesse, bring your wisdom tooth home with you and place it under your pillow. The tooth fay might leave you $1. So that's what I need is to leave my body parts underneath my pillow.
We saw a meme recently
to invite the fairies in.
That the tooth fairy was fey propaganda.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You were being conditioned to leave parts of your body for the fey and to invite them into your home. So
fey propaganda.
Walter Ballard, time to dark dive little people. That's actually a good idea.
I agree. 40 in Tennessee mentioned earlier that Mary A. Joyce wrote a book about them called The Little People Are Real. She's also the editor-in-chief of Skyships Over Cashiers. She's been doing some strange investigations for many, many years in that area. I think she lives in Silva.
Centurion's reading History, Myth, and Sacred Formulas of the Cherokee, James Mooney. But it's just so weird, man. I don't know what to say about it. It's just, I'm not sitting here, and if somebody looked at me and just went, Joe, can't believe it. I'm sorry. I enjoy what you guys do, but I'm not believing the little people thing. I'd just be like, I can't blame you. I can't blame you. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. Again, because we've never been out looking particularly for little people. We got that little thing in the trees that people think it's a jumper, and other people think it's just an artifact of the camera. But
or
people
a turkey.
Definitely not a turkey. I can tell you that's not a turkey. somebody still there. We have somebody who just has a vendetta against the channel because we will not say it's a turkey. I ain't a turkey. There's no wings flapping. That little thing going from tree to tree, it looks like, is not
The
that
jumper.
it's
Jumper
that's in
gate.
that area, and it's just you start going, man. I'm finding all this stuff, but it's the little footprints that are the thing that clinches it for me at this point. So, so I don't know, man. I mean, it's so weird, and it's so. I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. It's just hard for me to. April Black says that kind of looks like our logo.
Wouldn't that be wild? Wouldn't that be crazy? No, it doesn't. Don't even look. Don't.
They're onto you, Jess.
No.
I think I'm
little
safe.
people are watching YouTube.
I think I'm safe.
That's what they're doing.
I'll be safe.
They're tuning in. Yeah, and I had to bring it home. We're cruising through the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here. So, weird. I don't know, man. It's weird. I mean, Jessie will get when she's gets recovered from this, get it all out. We caught some weird audio.
Thank you, Reverend PC. That was swinging from tree to tree.
So
jumper gate. Now that I'm better at doing some video analysis, I ought to revisit
that
jumper gate and see if I can do something a little better with it. I have Adobe Premiere Pro now. I can actually do some real analysis on that footage. Now, if I prove to you that it's not a bundle of leaves,
I mean, I am open to it. You have to understand that
that's why
you have to take a moment and you have to step back and go, this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. This is crazy stuff. Little people now, little people. Bigfoot was where I kind of drew the line at. And now it's just constantly more and more weird stuff's getting thrown my way that I have to kind of adapt my worldview to.
Yeah.
And it does get a little easier, but at the same token, you still have to step back and go, this is mind-boggling. Like, what the hell? None of this makes sense. Our boy Alan Lasser wants to know, are y'all going to the URA Bigfoot Festival next year? No. We're only really doing stuff where we actually speak or take part in it. And even then, we're having to, we got asked to do the Western North Carolina Bigfoot Festival and the upstate South Carolina. What is that? The Westminster one?
Yes.
So I don't know if we're going to be able to do any of those.
Every time we do these, it takes us away from
there's just too much
doing
stuff
field
going on,
investigations.
Man.
And I get so behind. I love doing Tennessee Wildman Crypticon. I love doing that. So if they'll have me next year, I'll definitely do that again. We love doing that. And then we love going to CryptidCon in Lexington, Kentucky, which we're doing this year.
But if we might try to do them because it is important. You get to go out and you get to meet new witnesses, you get new information, but we got a lot of stuff going on here. I've got little arches and weird crap like that, tiny footprints to look into, man. I don't know. So we might, I don't know, but I mean, it as it stands right now, no, probably not. So Joseph Sage is talking about, the ancient Celtic sites had spirals. Some of those sites were near fairy mounds. Yeah, the spirals filter. That's the thing. It's one of these universal things that keeps popping up in different cultures. Every culture's almost got a story of just little people. It's just the Cherokees are very rich and very tied into their traditions and all that. So
I think we did film out there when we discovered all of this stuff. So there will be a video coming out that chronicles all of this. And we left the drop recorder at the offering tree in the course of this investigation as well. So all of that's going to be included into that. But I think we definitely need to go back out there and maybe try leaving some offerings. I know you don't like the gifting idea, but we are kind of advancing into more contact modalities and maybe trying to bridge that gap and make that contact via traditional means might be a good idea.
Well, I mean, I'm not real enthusiastic about it, but it might get to the point where we're there. All right.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just kind of going through the chat right now.
I think we got to most of the things I starred, if not all of it. I think so.
This is another thing that's very common. Jessica Smith says they exist. I've not seen Cherokee Little People, but I've seen a little man in a red coat. No, it wasn't Santa, but he was very much real. There are still, and when I say fairy, I don't mean like the fae. I mean like little people type things, you know what I'm saying? I saw fairies in my garden. That still takes place to this day, and they're always described like that. Very bright colored coats, bottle green, red, very bright blue.
Tobacco, rock candy, butter. Okay. I am
What
going
is this?
to.
Are y'all going to ant conferences this year? Any conferences? We're doing CryptidCon.
Yeah, we're going to be at CryptidCon in Lexington, Kentucky, November 23rd and 24th.
Yeah, and the rest of it, I don't know. It's good. We're going to play it by ear. I mean, we like doing them. We're not like vendors. So we don't really like sell a bunch of stuff. You know, we occasionally have like a little bit of merchandise, but that doesn't really. So these are always like really expensive, and then they're time consuming. And like I said, right now we've got like weird new stuff going on. So everything else has to take a back seat to that. So
yeah, Northman's Keep asked how far are we away from the North Carolina border. So this research area is near the North Carolina border. Us personally, currently, we are about an hour from the North Carolina border, and I'm from Western North Carolina. I'm from Haywood County, North Carolina. So it is a short drive from where I'm from to Silva and Cherokee and all of that. So
a couple quick things here because we're coming up on the time to jive this. But here's the weird thing. Anybody giving you reports of little people? Nope. Not at all. Wasn't really on our radar until we stumbled across this stuff in the woods. But where we're going to, again, there's nobody there to have that sighting. You know what I'm saying? There's literally nobody there to have that sighting. I mean, there were old homesteads in some of these areas back before the land was taken and turned into federal like forests. So we'll be out there somewhere and like I'll see like a bottle and I'll go, oh, there's a bottle. There's been people here. And then you kick the bottle and the bottle's from like the 30s, you know, and like, you know, and just like, so it's just barely sticking up out of the dirt.
You know what? Joe was like, oh, somebody's been up here recently. Look at that beer bottle over there. I was like, Joe, no. And one of you guys in the chat would probably be able to identify the year approximately when I tell you this. It was a Michelob pony bottle. So it was a teeny tiny little Michelob bottle. So that was probably the last time there were people up in that area, in that general area.
But so I don't know. We're not getting reports. So that's what's so weird is it's such an isolated thing, but we find so much of it. And
40 in Tennessee has one here and said, we've interviewed 6 individuals, 2 of which saw such at the same time, whom have seen little people in the last 20 some odd years, most recent one being 2 years back.
But yeah, it's just, we don't get a lot of reports on that.
Hawk has a good point that I bet you'll start receiving emails now.
If you have had an encounter with a little person or any sort of little bipedal entity, it will take us a while to get back to you. Our email is completely just shot at this point. It's so overwhelmed that
You're enthusiastic and positive about things, aren't you?
We have got to take a full night, 2 of us sat down and try to catch up on email. But send it to us. And then when we get to put little people on the tagline and we'll kind of like look around for some, but
yeah, because I am pretty interested in seeing if people are currently having encounters with these.
EDP's kind of off topic, but you still need to run that audio that sounds like Joe and Jesse through that audio thing on your computer. Wasn't that captured in the same area? It's near the offering trees where it's captured at. That was captured there. He's talking about that program that we used to get the bug noise out and to isolate those voices in that second audio thing. So
just because I love this name, Ghost of Old Gravy Legs goes, wait, how tall is David Paulides?
Ooh, way to riff back on a previous joke there that David Paulides is responsible for missing hunters.
He's also possibly tiny and a serial killer.
Yes.
He's not that tiny.
No, he's a big strapping man.
Big strapping man.
So So, I don't know. Like I said, so it's a lot of weird crap. I don't know what that is, man. That could have just been. I don't know. I just don't know. It's just. I don't know if I could. I mean, I'm sure I could sit down and weave it together like that. I don't do a lot of like arts and crafts, so maybe somebody who did do a lot of that stuff would find it very.
You didn't
easy.
major in basket weaving. For
No,
sure.
I did not. So, Paramedic says that there's spirals on Skinwalker Ranch too.
Mm-hmm.
Are there spirals like on the like petroglyphs? Are they finding spiral like things of rocks? All right.
See, everybody's giving me dates on those Michelob Pony bottles. The only reason I know that those were around before I was even born, but my uncle's a biker and my dad's a mechanic, so we know what pony bottles are.
All right. I'm trying to catch up here a little bit. Oh, while I am catching up, I'm going to start. Why don't you? We got some cool stuff this past week. I was finally able to make it to the P.O. box.
Mail call. I wish I had a graphic. Mail call. There it is. We got some really cool stuff in the mailbox this week. Really, really amazing stuff. First thing I got, Monica and Bill got me a gummy bear lamp, blue gummy bear lamp. That was a personal delivery. Also, we received
oft-threatened shrunken head finally made it in.
To add to my collection of odds and ends of odd things, my shrunken head arrived. Thank you, Moondog. You are the best.
Moondog
knocked it out of the park.
You never know what's going to be in there. And he even sent me something so I wouldn't feel left out. He sent me a little authentic Navaja knife.
Which is awful small for your big hands.
It is awful small, but it's,
you
might be coming home with you.
So. This way.
But it is let me see it real quick. It's the predecessor to the espadas that we carry. It was one of the first locking mechanisms for knives. And there's some huge examples of these. They were like fighting knives that people would carry for self-defense while traveling. So there's some that have like almost 2-foot blades on them.
Yeah.
They're massive, but thank you for that, sir. And then there's a list of rocks in here as well that she has.
There's various stones in here that are really cool. And then we have another awesome scarab, because you guys know that I'm obsessed with ancient Egypt by my my mummification of the chicken.
I'm afraid to ask how old the scarab is.
Yeah. But it is really cool. I love it. I absolutely love it. I wanted to thank you.
We got to figure out something for Moondog for Christmas, man.
Yeah.
It's scarabs, rare books, this, shrunken head. And I think we sent him like a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Here's a t-shirt. Thank you.
Yeah, we have to come up with something cool. I also got a really nice package from Australia. Andrew Foy sent me this. Sorry, I hate this microphone. I'm about to throw it against the wall.
Yeah, we might need to.
But he sent me some stones from a really beautiful and, as he describes, magical area out there. He sent a photo of the area right there. He said the geology is very strange and very interesting out there. But he sent me some stones from there, and they're insanely smooth and beautiful. The coloration on them is fantastic. I'm going to build a display that will include the photo and the stones, and put that up in my little mini museum of odd stuff and weird stuff. And that's a crystal right there.
Lady Wolf, we have not seen the thing from Sploot yet. We will, trust me, we will put that up ASAP.
But he said that the crystal came from a layer of basalt where they can be found in that valley. So thank you for that as well. Thank you guys so much for these cool little things that we get.
It's just little neat things like that, man, that end up just adorning our home. So
yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna make a display for the shrunken head and make a display for the stones here. So
our boy Brian from Australia. Yeah, we're gonna try to put up some stuff for some shirts and hats. It's the thing is that we've got to find time to individually package them, take them to the mail. To the post office.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a shop, and it's going to have the t-shirts and the hats available. We're going to make those available to our members first. So there'll be an early release for our members, and then we'll release it to the general public, and you'll be able to purchase those. And then we'll
do another
run. We'll build it from there.
Yeah.
So when we do sell out of those, we'll do another run, and then we'll build it up from there, hopefully adding in new designs as we go along. But it's just two of us here. We do all the investigations, all of the editing, all of everything that we do. We have no help whatsoever.
Somebody said we needed an intern, and I'm just like,
so
good luck with that.
I have to build the store, and I have to package and ship everything and get everything together and make these orders and stuff like that. So we both also have jobs. So, but we are getting to all of these things. It's just a matter of we're two people, and now I have to go in for surgery first thing in the morning. So
That's all gonna be on my.
we're gonna try
very
to
capable
try to
shoulders.
get through some of this, but just
That, and I've got to the audio capture thing is driving me up the wall. It's mad. I mean, it's literally maddening. It's like literally, she's had to calm me down a few times, talk me off the ledge, because you can hear it, and then the freaking bugs, the insects are so bad that we're trying to clean up this one audio, but you get to the point where you manipulate a piece of audio so much, nobody's gonna believe what you come up with.
Yeah.
You know, that second recording of like voices or whatever they were from that offering tree, the ones that sound like weird and mechanical, we still haven't released that publicly. You know, it's weird, and we do, because I don't know, man. I don't know, but I mean, it's just I'm throwing everything I got right now to try to like figure out this audio thing, to try to be able to like combat that. I don't know if there is any combating it. People have told me, oh, you can use AI programs to completely strip out the insects. And I guess we'll look into that. But at the same token, then that lets people dismiss whatever you end up with so easily. Well, you've altered that, you know.
Sploot said that the package is lifting as delivered. It's probably in our locker.
Okay.
On the way back from me getting surgery, I can be wrapped in a blanket in the car.
We'll stop by tomorrow.
And you can go and pick it up.
Yeah, we'll stop by. So, anyway.
Somebody suggested that we take all these crazy, gnarly little spirits that we bring home and put them to work.
Mow my grass. For God's sakes, I have to.
Yeah.
I was out there mowing with a headlamp on one night. Shane Morton wants to know, does your channel have anything special planned for Halloween? We're in the process of nailing that down. We've done the LBL.
The past 2 years.
We're not doing the LBL this year.
Because I don't want to get shot by some
crazy
person.
we're not doing we're staying away from the LBL.
Yeah.
Other than our boy Martin Groves and Mike Smith and a few other people down through there, it's just not a good scene. So we're looking at a few other spots. We got a few things kind of like in the works that we're thinking of. We're kind of thinking about doing a Halloween Eve, like Devil's Night, like live investigation, which we've done before, and then having like a video release on Halloween night. But here's where you run into. I would love to have a really crazy, awesome video release on Halloween night. We're victim to whatever we encounter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If all we're finding is like arches, those are cool. That ain't very Halloween-y.
Yeah.
People are just gonna go, "What the hell, guys? Really?" I mean, we're at the mercy of the phenomenon.
I gotta get better at like summoning stuff.
Yeah,
real quick.
So, all right, so I'm gonna get to the end of this, and then we're gonna call it, and we're gonna pack Jesse's face in ice. Oh, they wanted to everybody let you know. Man, everybody wants videos of you loopy with anesthesia. I'm telling you.
I know.
I will update everybody and let everybody know.
There'll not be videos because
Bristol, thank you for that. Sending positive vibes your way. It'll be easier than dealing with a dog, man.
Give me the dog, man. I'm so I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it. But I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah. So all right.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Friday the 13th in October as well this year.
Yes.
Weirdness is back on the menu.
Boys.
All right, guys. We are going to call it a night. Thank you all so much. Thank you for the cool stuff. Thank you for the rocks and the knives and the shrunken heads and the scarabs.
What a day, huh?
Sploot, we'll let you know when we got your stuff.
But thank you guys so much.
If you've had a little people encounter, lay it on us. Especially if you have had a little people encounter North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky, somewhere like that. Lay it on us. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. Yep. Jesse will get the next video out soon. We are wrapping up our presentation for Namacon. We'll let you guys know when that is out. So lots of cool stuff coming.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff.
Thank you for doing that outro. I appreciate it because I'm about done. I'm not well. But thank you guys so much for everything, for being part of this. And I want you guys to have a great night. Think of me in the morning when there's going to be a tiny man just ripping teeth out of my head tomorrow. So wish me luck. But until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other and have a good night. Have a good week. Be good out there. Sayonara. Let's get some music on here. How about that's a good one. That's a good one.
River of No Return.
What?
Tell you about my little people encounter in Idaho. Lay it on me, man. Shoot it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I want to hear what you got to say. Hellbentholler@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Email it. And you ain't getting an immediate response, but we will work our way to it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.